Yo, we gon' do this love American style. Hip-hop. This is what we live over here. It's what we started over here. This how we gon' do this right here. Come on, drop that shit.
In the late 50s and 60s, street gangs rose up in New York City. By 1970, violence and drug dealing had turned the Bronx and Brooklyn into an urban war zone. Many of New York City's young population looked for a way to rise above the chaos. Instead of fighting and killing one another, these revolutionaries took the negative energy prevalent in their daily life and channeled it into something positive. Their graffiti, DJing, MCing, and breakdancing became the four cornerstones of the new hip-hop culture. Before the hype and the record contracts, hip-hop existed in a way for inner-city kids to have fun. In the beginning, hip-hop was a way to express yourself through music and art. It was more than just rap music. DJing, graffiti, and breakdancing were just as much a part of hip-hop culture. To the founding fathers, hip-hop was an entire way of life. From the time they woke in the morning to the time they went to sleep at night, they lived and breathed the lifestyle. The clothes they wore, the way they talked, the way they walked, it all expressed hip-hop culture. What began as an underground street culture has become a worldwide movement. Today, people of all colors and all classes embraced hip-hop as a way of life.
I guess it was 73, and a lot of these DJs, they were basically playing, kind of like a disco club type of thing, A lot of stuff that was being played on the radio, a lot of popular stuff. And out of all of that came this rebel, Kool Herc. He wouldn't play that main album cut. He would play a break from a song inside the album, so it was like beats and rhythms and, his style was, he was like God.
A lot of people get rap and hip-hop mixed up. It's two totally different things. When you say rap, you say an MC and a DJ. When you say hip-hop, you say graffiti, you say breakdancing, you say DJs, you say MCs, the way you dress, the way you talk, all the elements into one. That's hip-hop.
In the mid to late 70s, poverty and drugs plagued the southern end of the Bronx. The average family income in the Bronx was a mere $5,000, half the state's average. Heroin took the lives and souls of countless residents. Home to thousands of homeless drug addicts, mountains of trash and rubble, and countless crumbling buildings, the Bronx became a national symbol of poverty. Despite these conditions, the spirit of the people was not crushed. From out of the rubble, the pioneers emerged with a will to survive, and they did so through hip-hop. Their desire to celebrate life overcame the housing projects, the drugs, and the violence. Block parties and street jams were where hip-hop started back in the day. The early DJs at the block parties began isolating the percussion breaks to hit songs, realizing that they were the most danceable and entertaining parts of the song. The music was popular, and the people came from all over the city to dance and have a good time. Different crews set up their sound systems in the parks and the streets throughout the Bronx to provide the partygoers with some music to dance to. Instead of fighting, they challenged each other to break-dancing battles. Block parties diffused negativity between different crews and became a way for kids to show off the skills and express themselves through music.
You had a problem with another crew. Instead of fighting, that's how we solved our problem. We put our best dancers up against their best dancers. That's how Bam made us solve our problems. Still going to the guns, going to the knives.
Dance to that.
Dance to that.
Dance to that.
That's where breakdance and all that came from.
The famous Bronx River houses, the home of hip-hop. We also used to say the home of God, and also Little Vietnam. It was crazy at one time with even police when they come in. We had a lot of gang violence happening at the time. Also a lot of social awareness that was also happening at the time. So that's why we started Universal Zulu Nation, trying to take a lot of gang affiliations and turn it to something positive.
As a teenager growing up in the Bronx, Bam joined a violent street gang, the Black Spades. But he was always more interested in the music than causing trouble. His excellent turntable techniques earned him a reputation as the top DJ in the city. His block parties and breakdancing competitions raised him to legendary status amongst his peers. In 1974, Bam formed the Zulu Nation, a crew comprised of former gang members to help assemble the elements of the culture. Not only did the Zulu Nation throw parties and have fun, but they showed people that there was a world outside of the Bronx. Bam spent a time away from the turntables, teaching and preaching with Zulu members to bring out positive change. Today, Bam's Zulu Nation has spread to an estimated 10,000 members in more than 20 countries.
We used to get in arguments with them and almost go to bat and fighting with them, but in that, when we came out, it was all love. So those was like our brothers. We like, you know, it's like different stories with each one of them, with the Zulu, with Bambaataa, with Grandmaster Flash, and all. It's just different stories on how we all came together. But it was always the battles, but that was the battle of love, man, and that's what brought the best out of us.
MC battles and DJ battles came about when many of the DJs decided to put up their sound systems and play at the same time, and whoever had the most powerful sound system will override the other sound system and be rocking the house, and a lot of time it caused chaos. But Drew, myself, and the Universal Zulu Nation, we put a stop to that, and we started making all the DJs play an hour against us, and we played an hour against them, and then we let the people decide who has rocked the house that night or that day or that afternoon in the park.
Hip-hop wasn't called hip-hop at the time. We got hip-hop from a brother, Love Bug Starsky.
Hello.
Love Bug Starsky was another MC and a DJ.
Yeah, they know Love Bug.
Who was across town saying every time he got on the mic, he would go to the hip, the hop, the hippity, hip hop, you know, and so on and so on.
I said the hip hop, the hippie to the hip hop. You don't stop the rocker to the bang bang boogie. Say up jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie to beat. Now what you hear is not a test. I'm rapping to the beat, and me, the groove, and my friends are gonna try to move your feet. You see, I am Wonder Mike, and I like to say hello. Up to the black, to the white, the red, and the brown, and the purple, and yellow. But first, I gotta bang, bang, the boogie to the boogie. Say up, jump the boogie to the bang, bang, boogie. Let's rock. You don't stop, rock the rhythm that'll make your body rock. Well, so
Bam heard about it. Hey, that sound hot. Let's call this thing that we do MCing, DJ, and whatever, hip-hop. That's where the name hip-hop come from. That's where we at.
Bam showed them a better way of how to do things, like through the music, express yourself through the music, and basically to leave the streets alone.
When I was little, I used to hear about Bambaataa and Kool, Herc, Grandmaster Flash, them cats like that. If it wasn't from them, it wouldn't be no hip-hop at all.
Positive note about hip-hop music. There were gangs formed. We use hip-hop music to transcend from the gang violence.
That's right.
To go into the music.
That's right.
You know, 80s, very early 80s, obviously that's when finally hip-hop started, you know, coming on the radio more and more, and you started to see, you know, hip-hop on the radio. And then obviously you had Sugarhill gang, and, you know, come out and do their thing with their record, and it blew up and became big. And then all of a sudden it was on American Bandstand and on Soul Train, and now all of a sudden, you know, Middle America started to see what this was and this movement. So now it moved out of the Bronx and out of New York and started moving across the country, because now visually people started to see, and also on the radio people started to hear a little bit. So now kids in other places started to get into it. So more kids from other places started getting into rap and getting into b-boy again. So now all of a sudden it's exploding.
What began as a positive and creative way for kids from the Bronx to overcome the violence and poverty in their neighborhood has become a worldwide phenomenon and a billion-dollar industry. Record labels jumped at the chance to sell rap music, making it the most profitable music genre in the world today. But the success has brought corruption and a divergence from the essence of hip-hop culture. Ironically, competing labels get caught up in the violence the culture tried to get away from. The true essence of the culture is often misrepresented in popular rap music. Current rap artists have forgotten the message of the founding fathers of hip-hop.
They say in the big DJ race, Theodore is running in first place. From the left to the right, he's out of sight. From the right to the left, he is the death. From the front to the back. he's not the rap. He got his back, so get down.
If a person wants to get an understanding of how hip-hop was back then, the best thing is to look at Wild Style because, you know, that was how it was done. You're not going to get to see Grandmaster Flash, you know, cutting in his kitchen. That wasn't like part of, you know, somebody wrote a skit or something and said, well, this is what we're going to do. We're going to have him put his turntables in the kitchen. No, they were in the kitchen.